Good evening, I'm Davey T and I am here with episode 2 of FSS Chat Back. Now tonight we are going to be talking about, I'll just get my notes up here, you don't realise how hard this is sometimes when it's just you, it's having to do all this, there's no production team or anything behind you. You watch all these guys on YouTube and you've got a new kind of respect for them when it comes to doing podcasts and stuff, because I'm like doing 10 things at a time. I'm working the camera, monitoring my phone because the camera's attached to my phone, also working the laptop, looking at my notes and making sure the sound is okay as well, which is absolutely mind-blowing, but it's really fun. I'm enjoying it. It's nice to actually be back on social media full-time, well, not full-time, but back on social media more regularly and doing this sort of thing. I have just completed my Arken Optics HD 520 Zulus review, and I have posted that up on YouTube, so check that out. But I will talk a little bit about that review tonight as well. So tonight what we're going to talk about is the Arken Optics Zulus HD 520. We're going to talk about a little bit what I've been up to this week in regards to pest control and deer management side of things. And we're going to talk more about no close seasons for male deer. Now, I kind of touched upon it, and you got to forgive me, my podcast was a little raw last week because we're pretty much just starting off. I'm trying new stuff all the time. I'm trying to script it a little bit better. I don't like scripting. I don't even like scripting my reviews. I think there's something not natural about scripting things. You know, it's good to know kind of what bullet points, what you want to talk about and what you don't want to talk about. But when you've got 30 minutes to do things, it gets a little bit hectic. So, first things first, what have I been up to this week? Well, I have started looking at my plans for next year's cull. We have 1,200 acres that I work on. We have got quite a lot to cull. It's a rewilding estate. I don't want to go too much into it because obviously that's not what this show is about. But there will be aspects of rewilding and things that I might want to talk about in the future. But the one thing is the estate that I do work for, they are wanting to bring the numbers down to 2 to 3 per kilometre square, which means over the 1,200 acres, that is quite a lot of deer, especially in an area in the Highlands like what we are, where there's a lot of deer, specifically sika. So I'm going to take a breath, and so this week I have carrying on with culling stags, as we have got no close season on it, which we'll touch on in a little bit. And I have pretty much kind of been just seeing what the state of affairs are, where there's likelihood damage, keeping an eye on clear fell and replants and stuff like that. So it's been kind of busy. On the pest control side of things, been out shooting foxes. I shot a couple of foxes with the Arken Optics, which we'll talk about the review in a few minutes, and it is quite something else. I've also been out doing a bit of rabbiting, and we have done some euthanized shooting for RTAs and for some really sick livestock. So yeah, it's one of those things that we kind of, it's always ongoing. When you're in deer management, when you're in this kind of environment, you're working all the time, and a lot of it is unpaid. I have to admit, a lot of it is unpaid, get no benefit, real benefit out of it, a personal benefit, other than a little bit of satisfaction. Anyway, as I said, I finished off the Arken Optic review this week. It took forever, and even my footage, I've got to explain this, there was just so much footage and so many things to go through that I didn't even get a chance to go through half of it in the video. So I'm having to do another video with all the comparisons with other scopes, what it's like daytime, what it's like nighttime. I've only done a kind of snapshot, given my personal opinion on what it is, which is a fantastic scope, by the way, for the money. I was looking at the price tonight, and when I started the review, it was £599. You can actually get discounts right down to £459 off of Arken Optics. So that's phenomenal amount of money. That's just like the Digex, like I've got here, this Digex here that you guys on YouTube will see. That cost me 1,250. You know, 1,250 when, and that was less than a couple of years ago. Now, the mount that I've got on this DigiX right now is a £260 mount, and that's like half the price of what the Arken Optics is going for now. It's crazy. It really is crazy. So the price of night vision and good quality night vision, and I'm telling you that Arken Optics is far better than this DigiX, 100%. Visually, 100% better. Far more easier to navigate, and the ergonomics of it to work. The menus are easy to work out. The just everything about it. The size, the clarity of the image, and it has a laser rangefinder, which is a godsend. But to get like things like laser rangefinders and stuff like that on optics, you're talking usually an extra £400-500. So this, price wise, it's well and truly like a bargain. It is a bargain, you know, and Arken Optics seem to really care about their customers. I was speaking to them about some of the things. As you'll see on my written review, I've got some bad things and some good things. Went back to Arken Optics about it, and they were like, well, look, we want to work to try and fix these up. Let's see what firmware updates that we can help with some of the issues that we're picking up, and they were happy with that. So in regards to the review, I really, really liked the Arken Optic Zulus HD 520. It was a phenomenal piece of equipment that I could really see myself purchasing. I'm probably going to send this back in a week or so's time, and I'm going to miss it because it's been sitting on top of my 243, it's been on my 270, and it's been on the 223, and it seems to be doing everything I ask it to do. I've had a few glitches, don't get me wrong, getting used to the buttons and stuff like that, but that's what happens when you have to be thorough, completely thorough with something. It's unbelievable. The one thing I'm going to say to you, though, is that things are getting easier to use in the night vision world. Prices are starting to come down. The thermal market is starting to become more affordable. If you're looking to get into night vision and you're looking to start working on digital scopes and that, and going away from the traditional style, I'm holding up a Zeiss V4 here, going away from the clear scope side of things in regards to doing night vision work or even daytime work, because a lot of these optics are set for day and night now. And I've got to admit, I swear, you would never get an image from any of the day scopes that what I got through. You imagine a good quality Sony camera, right? And zooming into something and trying to mimic that from a good quality scope. I've got a side-by-side comparison of 100 meters with my spotting scope and my and the Arken Optics. I've got a side-by-side comparison there, and I kid you not, the clarity is unbelievable. I was looking at a cat in bushes 200 yards away from me. It's just amazing. But there is limitations. Remember, these items are battery powered. These units have their flaws. They have refresh rates. They can't, most of them are waterproof to a good level. They don't have anti-fog in them, for instance. You can't. They're not nitrous purged or anything like that. So the lenses do fog up easy on night vision, and that happens to all of them. It's not just. Remember, these are just cameras. These are cameras on a tube with it. It's just an enhanced image. So think about it, but think about price point. I will always pick night vision over thermal. I use a thermal spotter for spotting, and I use night vision for looking in. And do you know, the only time that I would prefer if I had a thermal scope is if it was foggy outside. And if it's foggy outside, you shouldn't be shooting anyway, because unless you know your ground really, really well, you should not be shooting into the fog. You have no idea what's out there. Even with thermal, thermal has got its limitations. It struggles in heavy cover when there's been times when animals are lying low. Ever tried to search for a deer that you've shot with a thermal? You'll find it with your eyes quicker than you'll find it with a thermal, unless it's thin grass. But out in the hill, it could be in a bank or a heather bank or something like that, and all you're looking for is a tiny little bit of trace of heat to try and give you an idea of which direction it's in. Now, in saying that, it is a fantastic, amazing world. I've been using night vision and stuff for years, and if you want to get into it, go for a nice cheap option like the Arken optics or various others that are out in the market, and get to know it and enjoy it. Because I tell you one thing, it is going to be quite a good market to be in the future. It's an exciting market at the moment, and it opens up so much, absolutely so much. Especially if you can get out there and get some foxing ground or rabbiting ground or even ratting ground or whatever, and start working at night, you will enjoy it wholeheartedly. Yes, it takes time consuming. People don't really like going out after dark, especially with a rifle, and it takes a bit of getting used to it. And back in the day, it wasn't for the faint-hearted. It was only the professionals that worked after dark. Now we are talking it as an open market now, and get to learn about your environment at night. The world is a completely different place at night. Get to know about your surroundings. You'll learn a lot more about your land when you look at it at the night time. Yes, you'll know every nook and cranny during the day, but see, when you see it at night, distances seem a lot closer than what they really are. It's hard. Things look very different. Angles look different. All sorts. You could sit on the same spot all day and work out all your ranges. As soon as the nighttime comes down, you have no idea. So, but if you are going to get into it, go for relatively reasonable priced night vision optic like the Arken optics or the new Alpex or something like that. And I've been told, and I haven't tested the Alpex yet, but I have seen through it, and I do think the Arken optics, just going back to this review, I do think the Arken optics is way better than that in regards to IR usage and clarity during the day and at night, especially for zeroing. Excuse me a second, I'm just going to have a little drink. Now, it is quite nice to sit and do a podcast, because podcasts are a little bit different from doing a review for a company or whatever, because I get to a bit more freedom with the podcast. And I am being honest with you, I wouldn't go high-end thermal. I wouldn't go anything like that. Invest in a good thermal spotter if you want to get into night vision, and a reasonably priced night vision unit, and that will start you off, and you will have a phenomenal time with it. So yes, the Arken optics was fantastic. I enjoyed every minute of using it. I enjoyed every minute of kind of getting to grips with the new technology and stuff like that. And I am so surprised, so surprised how far the night vision optics has come, and thermal optics has come in the last even 3 years. You know, like we're talking 3 years ago when less than 4 years ago when the original Digex came out, and everybody was going, oh wow, it's a night vision unit that looks like a normal scope, it feels like a normal scope. It still doesn't work like a normal scope, but everybody got used to it. And then we had before that, it was all big box units, and I'm not saying they were all heavy. I'm far from it. So actually, a night vision unit is probably heavier than a thermal unit, and a thermal, and a lot to do with that is to do with the size of the technology that's in it. Also, the glass needed, the glass needed for a thermal unit over a night vision unit is slightly different as well. Anyway, so. Yes, if you are out there in the market for a new night vision unit, or you want to tap into the night vision world for the very first time, I do recommend that Arken Optics Zulus, because it will open up a few avenues for you. You'll get to learn it. It's easy to use. It's easy to zero. It is the easiest scope in the world to zero. I've worked with a lot of digital night vision scopes and thermal scopes over the years, and they all claim to have one-shot zeros and stuff like that. But they are fiddly, they're awkward, they are annoying. I kid you not, there was no issues ever zeroing that Arken Optics. It was not fiddly, freeze frame, and just move. Whether it was on the app, you could use your finger, or whether it was on the unit itself. So I've spoken enough about the Arken Optics. I really have. I've spent like the last 10 minutes speaking about Arken Optics. But seriously, if you want to get into night vision, get into it. It is a world worth looking into. The price is coming down so everybody can afford to it. And you can use those digital scopes for deer during the day now as well. So it doesn't mean to say that you have to have one rifle for night and other rifle during the day. You can actually fit these up. I prefer to have dedicated rifles, but that's because I'm doing things professionally. I'd rather have a daytime scope for when I'm out doing deer management in the bigger woods and that during the day, because of the fact that I could be out there for 10 hours, 12 hours, especially in the summertime. I could be out there for a lot longer. I could be out there for almost 20 hours, and I don't need to carry extra batteries. I don't need to do anything like that. And I don't need to worry about charge. I don't need to worry about a lot of things that you have to think about when you're using digital night vision. And I only use the spotter on and off. You don't use the spotter to spot what you need, and then you use daytime optics during the day to see what you're actually getting, because there's no way you could tell, even with a thermal spotter, whether it's male or female at certain times of year, because the fact, don't get me wrong, if the stags are in full velvet, you will pick up the velvet, but once those become hard horn, you're not really seeing any horns out to 500 yards. No. You'll struggle to see horns, even on a good thermal, out to 200 yards. So you do still need those day optics to see what's male and what's female, sex identification and things like that. So that leads me on to the next topic. So, no closed season for male deer in Scotland. What is my thoughts on that? It's a difficult one, because in the last 10 years, I've not had a season for male deer. I've been able to shoot under license to shoot male deer all year round, and it's not been an issue. Traditionally right now, as of, well, it's the 13th of March, but as of the 15th, as of 15th of February, the only thing that we could shoot was roe deer. And then after the 31st of March, between the 31st of March and the 1st of July in Scotland, the only thing you could shoot was roe bucks. So you were limited on, if you had no roe bucks, you weren't shooting. There was a kind of off season. It was a chance to refresh, get your kit up to scratch. Even buy new kit. Spend a couple of months selling off some kit and buying new kit and looking forward to the stags in August, because September, because that's when they were starting to get hardhorn again, and you were able to do whatever to work into the seasons for the rut and stuff like that, and get excited for the stags. And then if you were into roebucks, what a lot of guys are, then the roebuck season was there, right, and everybody was looking forward to the rut at the middle of June to the middle of July, sort of thing, depending where you are, because sometimes the ruts were changing over the years. We don't have that now. We don't have that spark where everybody is kind of getting excited for the new season ahead when it comes to male deer. And although I was able to shoot male deer all year round and always have been, it was always nice to see. It was nice to have this discussion with people. I still get, like, even on Saturday, this Saturday coming, I've got a guy coming up, or is it Friday? Friday or Saturday. I've got a guy coming up from down south who wants me to help him zero his Victory V8, his Ice Victory V8. He's been having trouble with it. Now, I still get that. I get that quite a lot, actually. I still get people phoning me up and going, David, I need a help with this rifle. I need a help with this ammunition. I need a help with this scope or whatever. It's causing me a bit of a headache. And these guys, well, probably they get excited about the prospect of what was coming up for the buck. They're looking for that medal buck, or they were looking for a good quality buck. They were excited to be ready for when the stag season came in, and not just the early part of the stag season, but when it came to the rut. Oh, so excited about the rut. There just doesn't seem to be that excitement when you talk about no close season. There's not that anxiousness, that thick air that people anticipate. That sense of anticipation for what the season's going to bring ahead. That buck that you saw last year on your syndicate or on a property you share with someone, now you're worried about, or that stag, now you're worried the guy that is on your syndicate next to you is going to take that out, because the fact is there's no season now. So he doesn't really care about what size the head is. If you're not a trophy hunter, like I'm not a trophy hunter, you don't see trophies behind me or anything. I'm not really interested in shooting royals or whatever. Because I'm a numbers guy. You know, the job that I do is basically shoot numbers. But I am interested in it. I like seeing that quality of, what can I say, the quality of deer that can be produced by proper management. And I enjoy seeing, there's nothing better, there's nothing more exciting than when you come up and you see a really good, beautiful stag who has, in the prime of his life, and you're not going to shoot him, you just want to look at him. You don't want to shoot him, you want to look at him. And it's like that with a roebuck. I love roe deer. I think they're the cleanest, the nicest looking deer to watch. And I shoot a lot of Sika. And do you know what? To hear the stags whistling, and I can see in futures going forward, I can see us not hearing as much of the whistling that you hear in the woods, that eerie sound coming through the morning dew in late August, mid-September, even into November, that whistling from the Sika stags as they're calling out. And I can see that going to be the thing of the past, you know. And that, to be fair, some people will say that, well, Sika are invasive. They shouldn't be. They should be shot all year round anyway. But no, that they've been here for the last 150 years. They're going to be here for a long time to come. Those guys are hardy. There's no way we can ever get rid of them. And male deer and red deer, yes, we'll still get a rut. And you will get the estates, like I said last week in the show, you will get the estates that will charge an absolute fortune for to get a representative stag that's 10 points plus. Because everywhere else, all your syndicates, all your recreational stalking guys who get all that cheap stalking that they keep talking about and all that great stuff that they get for free, they're not going to have any big numbers or big-headed beasts. A lot of them are always going to be worried that the guy that they share the land with is going to take that deer, you know, or there's going to be a deer management nature restoration order put on their ground, like I've already heard that is happening to a number of estates, that they've already had put their cull figures up to 250 to 300 deer needing to be taken off the ground. And that's phenomenal, you know. I heard a guy the other day there. I was speaking to a guy the other day. He was telling me he's on an estate up north, and he was telling me that on average, before he was shooting maybe 13 to 20 stags, in a year, he's now been asked to shoot 75 stags this year. And where he's used to shooting about 42 to 46 hinds a year, he's now been asked to shoot 150 hinds. Now, he is on I think it's an 8,500 acre estate. But, yeah, wow, that's a big rise in culls. And this is not new. This is something that's happening across the board. And as we see, as I was talking about last week, as we see all these guys who are talking about how they will manage their wood the way they want to and how they will manage their ground the way they want to, they might not have a choice. You might not have a choice. We've already seen the start with taking away the closed season for male deer. I know there's going to be a proposal. I know there is a proposal. I was looking at one, and we'll talk about this next week. The new proposals for licenses and out-of-season licenses and stuff. They are talking about increasing the seasons for female deer. They're not talking about a full-out no closed season for female deer yet. But you never know. It might come. They're already talking about adding an extra month. We already get our licenses on our out-of-season licenses for female deer. We already get from the 1st of September straight through to the 31st of March. And now I stopped shooting females really at the beginning of March, around about last week, because they're heavy pregnant. And as I said last week, I'm not shooting any more female deer that are pregnant. I just don't like it. But you look at the way that they're going with these seasons, I can see that it'll be an all-out cull on deer, wholeheartedly, all the way through. No protection for any of them. And that is kind of worrying for the future of deer in Scotland. It really is. And as a deer manager, that is very difficult for me to kind of get my head around in the future. Anyway, so thank you again for listening to our second installment of the FSS Chat. I'm coming to the end of my half an hour, and I've talked quite a lot. And it's so easy to get wrapped up with these subjects, because the fact is they're very emotive. I'm very passionate about it. So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the new consultation out, the new deer management consultation out that's come out in regards to licensing and stuff like that. We'll talk a bit about the show. I'll also talk about a few other things as well. I'll catch you up on what I've been up to during the week. I'm going to try and arrange guests to come in so you don't have to listen to just me every week. But I thank you again for spending this precious time that we all have just to sit down and chill out with whatever. But again, put your comments in. Anything you want me to talk about, anything you want me to investigate, anything you want me to review, just put them in the comments below, because or send me an email to david@fieldsportscotland.com, because I am willing to kind of just take this further. Also, if you've got a particular thing that you're passionate about, you want to come on and speak to us about in regards to hunting related or deer management or whatever from your neck of the woods, yeah, come on, by all means. I can arrange, if you want to come here personally, we can sort that out. But if you want to do a Zoom call or whatever, I would be interested in that, because I'm always looking for guests, especially real hunters out there, real shooters, real recreational stalkers out there. Anyway, thank you again for listening to this podcast. I wish you all the best, and I will catch you next week. Catch my review on the Arken optics. I will be putting more videos up in regards to how to use the app and things like all the things that I couldn't put on that hour and 10 minutes video that, God, it was just, there's so much footage. I'll do comparison tests and stuff like that. Okay, thanks very much, and I will speak to you soon. I'll catch you next week on FSS Chat Back.